Where should people start? And I want to take it through this thing of age hacking because I think it's an incredible, you got a mind for words, which is amazing. But and your podcast is Age Hackers. But when I look at all the testing, you're a cardiologist now, and someone's got to take the next 3 to 5 years and make sure number one, they got the resources. So that's important. But where do they start with the data that they need to know with regards to, and on the website, I'm going to put links here: cardiovascular health, full genome sequencing, sex hormones and metabolites, stress hormones, thyroid levels, from telomeres to NAD levels to toxic burdens. If someone looks at this, they're like, oh my word, where do I start? And obviously it's individualized, but if someone's going to really look after their health and age hacking, give me the greatest data points a day, maybe the top 10. Is it VO2 max? Is it a DEXA scan? Is it making sure they know their apolipoprotein B? Is it is it a clearly scan? I mean, where do people start with this framework that are listening to say, AI is coming. I want to make sure that I can get into this escape velocity
Yeah,
and longevity velocity. Where do I go?
right. No, I think it's a great question. I think the first place to go is to look at what you believe is possible, right? Because, for example, I was born in February of 1954, right? So you can do the math on that. But I wake up 27 every day. And having a mindset of being 27, and I'll be 27 this decade, 28 the next, 29 the next, and then when I'm 100, I'll be 30, right? So the most important thing you can do right out of the chute is to disassociate yourself from your chronological age. Chronological age means nothing, quite honestly. I know, 28-year-olds that are going on 65 and 65-year-olds that are going on 28, right? So it's a mindset thing, and you can't overestimate the impact that your nervous system has on your health. We're always looking for, what's the biological thing? What's the hormone? What's the this? What's the that? What's the that? What really drives this concept of developing a 30-year-old body and a 300-year-old mind is asking the right questions, right? And that comes down to identifying with the end result. So if I want to have a 30-year-old body and a 300-year-old mind, then the first questions to ask are, well, how do I get a 30-year-old body, right? If I'm identifying with that, if I truly identify with that and I don't feel like it today, how do I get a 30-year-old body? And if I don't have a 300-year-old mind with all the transcendence and wisdom and perspective and equanimity, right, that a 3,000-year-old mind develops, then how do I get that mind? How do I train my nervous system to be at that place? So in our practice, we see that we can alter the biology of people dramatically, and yet the real impact comes, the supercharging of their longevity comes when their nervous system comes online, right? So training the nervous system towards this 3,000-year-old mind. So the first thing you have to do if you're really serious about this, you have to know what's the target, right? Obviously I want to avoid a heart attack and a stroke and cancer and dementia, but actually what's the target? And once you identify your target, mine is 30-year-old body, 300-year-old mind, maybe yours is something different. But once you identify it, then really start identifying as that. And when you identify as that and you don't feel like it, then start to ask yourself the questions, okay, how do I get there? Right? What do I need to do? What do I need to do? And if you do that, if you take that mindset, it will start to drive innovation and you'll be looking for solutions that you otherwise wouldn't looked at. For example, let's say somebody's in their 50s and they had a heart attack. The questions they could be asking are, how do I make it through cardiac rehab? Am I going to be able to have sex again? How do I get back to my job? How do I take care of my family? Do I have enough life insurance, right? And in life, what I've discovered is you really only get the answers to the questions that you're asking. You only get the answers to the questions that you're asking. So if those are the questions you're asking, then those are the answers that you'll find. Oh, well, I'm going to go to cardiac rehab. I'm going to see if I can get my boss to give me a sick leave, and then I'll come back on. I'll do lighter work, and then I'll be able to, those are the answers you get. But if you ask the question, I just had a heart attack, how do I actually give myself the heart of a 30-year-old, right? Now it's like, oh, okay, well, what are my genetics? Why did I have this in the first place? What are my stress levels? What's my diet look like? What's my food look like? And then how do I actually rejuvenate my heart? How do I actually rebuild my heart? What's the best strategy for that? Not just make it through rehab. How do I improve my ejection fraction? How do I decrease my arrhythmias? How do I actually get back to a 30-year-old heart? When you start to ask those questions, now you're throwing yourself into the whole regenerative space, right? Stem cells, exosomes, all kinds of, treatments that can be done. And the next thing you know, it's like, oh, you know what? I've got a 30-year-old heart again, right? But you're only going to get the answers to the questions that you're asking. So important. Ultimately, the biggest driver ever is that. So identify with a young body and an old mind. And I don't mean an old mind and an aged mind. I mean a wise mind.